Alrighty, guys, it is 3:30. It is Wednesday, August 6th. Time to wrap it up. And man, look at this steady grind. I'm not seeing any weakness whatsoever. And I've been waiting, watching this move to the upside, waiting for that little sell-off, which usually happens, but nope, doesn't look like it. We are getting into that last half hour, and at this point, I think they're going to bust the highs. So there you go. That's why you wait for a good setup. Now, if you were trying to get short up here, you had a decent setup right there against that 100% extension of the initial band, that purple line. They run up, retest. But you can see, I mean, you got a short here, you didn't have much to work with. It just didn't go very far. That's kind of twisting in a way. And if you follow the rule, two, three, maybe 4 bars of nothing happening, the trade not developing, just get out of it. And it would have been in good shape. But man, a lot stronger than I thought today, that's for sure. So, oops, no, that's not what I wanted to do. So I just folded this together. So we're up here against this upper area, the 63.75 to 80s, and holding. It looks to me like we may have a shot at taking it out. We'll see. I mean, if it holds here and they start selling off, I'll be right at the very end, I guess. But it's not so much of being right as to wait for the setup. And we've been working in this range pretty hard, and so far just been grinding higher, building value to the upside. And by now they should have probably tried to knock it down. So I'm thinking that we may not see much of that. We may see pretty much the market closing strong today, which is surprising, even given what's going on. Getting into August and the market is still showing some good strength. Uh, Capital flow wise, if you look at that for the ES, we are right up here against this area. They kind of had to take it out, so they are still waiting for them to bust through it. But if they do, the next attractor up here is going to be 6,400. So that's kind of where we're heading if they take out the 63.75 to 80s. But they're right there now. So they can still potentially set up a retest failure and the rotation down. But given what's happening all throughout the afternoon here, just steady grind to the upside, I would just not try that short trade at this point. I think it's getting too late for that to develop. So starting off range band, unless they close below this 63.60 edge, that 4 letter edge, if they close below that one, we go back range band. Otherwise, I would look to buy against aggressive would be buying against the 63.70 mode, and the less aggressive against that support area at the 63.60s. For rotations back up again. So that's how we get started in the overnight, given that they hold at 60s going into the close. Just one trade today, and that was that short earlier on. That was this guy earlier on, but before this move happened, I tried a short against the retest failure trade. Didn't go very far. I got out of it, and I'm glad I did because it's been grinding higher ever since. So, and I've been waiting for that, thinking range bound trading, thinking about the short side of the market against resistance, but so far, they've been just grinding this higher. No retest failure setting up, which has gone anywhere. There's a couple of setups, but they haven't really developed. So you want to get out of those. And today is a good day to practice that. When a trade doesn't develop, get out of it. And if you try the long trade on a pullback, you would be in the money, but it hasn't gone very far. It's just been grinding. Looking at the bonds and the notes, before I get in bonds and the Nasdaq, before I get there, let's take a look at the news for tomorrow. So tomorrow morning we get the jobless claims at 8:30, productivity, the two numbers. Then we get wholesale inventories at 10, net gas report at 10:30, consumer credit at 3. So not much news to drive the market tomorrow or on Friday. Nothing on Friday. So it's going to be more like this, and we'll see if the earnings comes out, if there's earnings coming out after the close, and they are good. And so far, they've been more positive than anything else. So market is definitely trying to grind higher. Bond market, except for that big rotation here, which I can't explain, it's pretty much right back up to where they were. So range bound bond market to get started in overnight. Nothing much to say about that guy. On the Nasdaq though, I've been thinking about this. I was almost getting on a short trade right here. You see that start heading a little lower high, the lower high. I was looking at that, getting into that close to that 330, like thinking that maybe this is a good spot to get short. If I tried a short there, I would have been down to, yes, it'd probably a break-even trade, if even that, then it would have been right back up again. So they absolutely ruthless. But this would be the kind of setup you would be looking for to get short. However, so far I'm not seeing any weakness at all. So I'm thinking that we may end up in a close on a strong note here going into the close. Now, Nasdaq has taken out this support area. They have taken out this area, this low volume area, and they're above it, and they're trading higher. Or if you look at this chart, they're kind of right at it. So it is, and we can make them. You can argue each case if you want, but I'm thinking that these guys are taking out resistance and they're on their way higher. So pretty good move to the upside so far, and let's see how far they can take it. So starting off with a slight bias on the upside on Nasdaq. If they close below this area, the 2300, 23,300s, I will be back range bound. But I would look to buy against a single print at the 400s, against that four little edge at the 350, 360s for rotations back up again. So that's the Nasdaq for you. And there's some stock that have been doing very well today. So capital also way that I think Super Micro didn't do too good. Earnings day is kind of down like 20%. And then you have some other stocks which are doing well. Finally, oil and gold, and not a whole lot of heck of a lot to say about that guy. Oil finally starting to head, it took out 64. So that late in the session, K period 2 o'clock hour, finally busted through 64. Now they're reverse retesting it. We are pointed lower. So at this point, I'm going to look at this as a move out of the middle to the downside on oil. And you can watch this guy. They're testing support, and then here you have your move starting in K period and blowing through low volume. This could be a pro, but I'm thinking that we may have a move lower coming. Now, this could be because they're talking about a Russia summit between Trump and Putin within a week. So there's something happening on that Russia war front. We will see how that develops. But if that happens, I think the oil collapses. If they have a stall, if that war kind of stalls. Now, if the sanctions go in place, and this is an interesting dynamic. So they're going to sanction India for secondhand sanctions. They're buying a lot of Russian oil. If India has to stop buying Russian oil and go out and buy oil in the market, you may see upward pressure in the short term, but I don't think it's more of a short-term pressure if that happens. So there could be the different cross currents on oil right now. I think the senses will they definitely move to the downside. So we'll take it, and we'll start off treating this as a move out of the middle to the downside. So trading this for the short side. So looking for short setups against the 64.70s and 65 on early strength. That's kind of the dynamic right now, and looking for lower prices. But there's a couple of crossers in there. So if that's the Russia thing, it's just a big ruse again and everything falls apart. Chances are there's going to be some short-term pressure on the upside. If it works out, then there's actually a conflict resolution in place or something like that happens. I think oil prices may come down a bit to a risk premium off, Then finally, gold, just kind of holding where we left it, not moving higher, but hasn't really traded below that 32.10 to 12 either. So I would start off from the long side on gold, looking to buy against that ledge at 34.30s. Maybe adjust this guy a bit. Definitely going to be looking to buy against 34.10 to 12 here for rotations back up. But this edge in the middle may not be there tomorrow. So we'll see. But I'm going to adjust this for tomorrow. But I would start off with a bias to the upside on gold at this point. And as I said, there's some stuff happening on the Russia's front. So look for, you can see some violent rotations in the market depending on what happens and what headlines comes out. So just be watching for that. All right. So we'll leave it there, and I'll see you guys back bright and early in the morning. You guys have a good evening. Later.